Welcome back to the Unscripted Blend. I'm your host, Victoria Stackhouse. Before we get into today's episode, a quick disclaimer. This conversation is for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered tax, legal, or financial advice. You should consult a qualified professional for guidance specific to your individual situation. The views expressed are for general discussion and do not represent the views of any employers, organizations, or affiliated companies of the host or guest. Now today I'm joined by Donald Butler, CEO of Butler Squared Consulting. With over 25 years of experience, including work with PricewaterhouseCoopers and within the federal government, Donald is a certified public accountant who brings deep expertise in tax strategy, financial audits, and business operations. Through Butler Squared Consulting, he helps entrepreneurs and organizations build financially sound, sustainable businesses with clarity and confidence. He is also a certified information systems auditor and an accounting professor with a strong foundation at the intersection of finance and technology. Beyond accounting, Donald is also engaged in innovation across AI and technology and is the founder of a fashion magazine, bringing a unique blend of business, creativity, and forward-thinking perspective to the work he does. Without further ado, everyone, I give you Donald Butler. Let's get into the conversation. Hey, Donald.
Hello. Thank you so much for the invite.
Of course, and thank you for saying yes. I really am honored to have you on this platform. So thank you again, sir.
Yes, absolutely.
So listen, we're going to dive right into it, you guys. Let me start at the beginning with you. So where did it all start? How did your interest, in finance grow? Just kind of walk us to how we got to where we are now with Butler Square.
Wow, I'm going to give you the very brief summary of that. So, I went to high school and I graduated in an engineering program. And I was looking at what my major would be in college. And I thought accounting. I felt that was my life call to be an accountant. And I didn't really know what that looked like, but I figured let me try it. And I failed accounting 3 times before I actually passed it. But I took a break once I failed it my third time, and I got into banking. I started working for what we know it as Bank of America, and I spent several years there. Then I went back to college, and I got A's in accounting. And I thought, well, I'm not going to hold my breath too much. I'm just going to keep walking down this path and see what happens. And then finally, I graduated with a grade point average over 3.0 in accounting and as a bachelor's degree. Then I could continue to pursue my master's in accounting and IT. And so I've been in this industry over 25 plus years. And I was saying because I started it, I couldn't end it because the minute I was saying I was going for my degree in accounting, I had tax clients. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. But I felt like let me just go ahead and get started and learn it. And I've been doing taxes ever since. And but what we see today is much different than when I started. When I started, more people had W-2s. Now more people are 1099 contracting, individuals who are filing taxes as a business. So it's a little different now. But and also I'm a professor at University of Maryland Global Campus where I teach accounting. So I've been in this industry quite some time.
All right. I love that. And I didn't realize how early like that interest was for you. I love that. So was
Yeah.
it hard to kind of keep going when you had to do the test more than once? Like when you failed accounting in the past, did you think about maybe letting go of that and doing something else? Or it was just always, this is what I want, we're coming back?
This is what I wanted it, and I felt like everything was going to be hard. And I knew, I don't know why, I didn't grow up in accounting. My mother definitely did not teach me accounting. That's why I failed it 3 times because I didn't understand debits and credits. I didn't really understand the fundamentals of numbers and keeping track with things. And some people think that accounting has a lot to do with math, but it's not really math driven. It's all about theory and where to put the transactions and understanding how to record it. And so for me, it was just more like, I don't want to, just give up. I felt like everything was going to be hard. Victoria, I just felt like I was not that A student. So it didn't matter what I was going to pursue. I felt like everything was going to be challenging. But really, even if I look at it from, when I prayed about it, I felt led to do accounting, and that's why I stuck with it.
I love that. I love that. And now here we are, professor too. Okay.
Here we are.
So
No, Professor too.
that's how we
I'm
finish.
laughing my
Okay.
family. I'm laughing with my family about that because I struggled through school. I was not the A student. I'd never been on the roll except one time, and I think that was in the eighth grade. By the time I got to ninth grade in high school, and anybody that know Baltimore and Poly is a significant high school. It's a very prestigious high
Yeah.
school. Baltimore Polytechnic Institute. Shout out to all of those that went to
Whoop,
city.
whoop.
Unfortunately, y'all did not get the knowledge, the experience that we had, but but it's all good. It's all good rivalry. But yeah, I was glad I went there, and it taught me a lot. But yeah, accounting is not really a math type of industry. It's more about documenting where transactions go, and there is a lot of math involved, but it's just not calculus, or it's not trigonometry. It's not algebra. It's simple math, but it's just all about where you put it.
Okay. It makes sense. And now I didn't know you were gonna do a little jab at City at first. Because I was raising my hands because I graduated from Poly, but I didn't know you were gonna do a little jab at City. And normally I wouldn't say anything except I went to both. I'm one of the few. I did 2 years down the middle, two at City, two at Poly, but Poly is where I graduated from.
See, when you're a poly graduate, you said, "Let me get out of here right now. I know what I need to do."
Oh my gosh. I
And
feel like I
honestly,
got
though, I think because of my major, I think I would have did better going to city,
mhm,
just for the academic side of it. But both schools are amazing schools, and they teach a lot of good information. So but Poly had the engineering and science, and I
right.
thought I'm gonna go into engineering. I was not going into nobody engineering. I went into accounting. So go figure that.
Ooh, that fundamentals of engineering class. What a time.
Yes.
A time was had, and I survived.
Listen, wood
Back
class,
in the day.
urethane glass, electricity. I mean,
Oh,
we
oh my
learned,
goodness.
honestly,
Okay, man. Don't get me started on that one.
we learned a lot. We have learned a lot. But yeah, so
But
here we
yeah,
are.
here we are today. Praise the Lord. So now looking more again at your business. So how do we now come to the point where boom we have Butler Squared and
Oh
that
man.
and let everybody know like what you have with that because it was beyond tax services as well.
So that started when I was a full-time employee. And like I said, I was doing taxes since I was graduating. I mean, since I was in college, and people felt like because I was taking accounting courses, I knew taxes, and I did not know taxes at the time. But I used that as my, you know, practice at the time and getting to know how to do taxes. So thankfully, I didn't turn it down. But being a full time employee, I realized that even though you have a job, you have to have something on the side, and I needed to have something on the side when I hit those bumps in the road, like 2009 when the market crashed. I lost my job, and having done that during tax season, I had that additional cushion that was giving me and my family something to live on, even though it wasn't a whole lot because I wasn't doing a lot of taxes, but I still had something coming in. And 2019, literally, we're believers. So God told me I was going to start the business in 2018, and I thought, okay, Lord, you're going to have to make this big because, like, I don't want to work with individuals, and but I had no other choice. I had to start in 2019 May that year, and when I started the business, I thought, what am I going to do? What am I going to sell? How do you sell your services? I was used to writing proposals for government contracts, not for individuals. And why would somebody want to hire me to do their books? Like I need income, and but that's when Butler Square was birthed in 2019 of May, and or May of 2019, and it was since then that I felt like even now, like when I used to work at the big four CPA firms like PricewaterhouseCoopers, I remember sitting in a meeting and someone said, "How do we stay on top of industry, the where things become competitive? Are we going to survive the economy?" And I thought that was I mean, as you can see, it still remains in my memory, and it's been since maybe 2010 2010 that happened, and that made an impact on me. Meaning that no matter what we do, we cannot stay stuck. We have to evolve. So even though I started my business and doing accounting and tax, I felt like I have to evolve. So I thought, let me step into different industries because accounting is in every industry. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, accounting is represented in every industry. And when you see, like, uh, you, many people may not notice, but I got into the fashion side because I will host a gala, and I'm having one coming up really soon. But
Yes.
as part of my gala, I had a fashion show, and that triggered me to realize that even in the fashion industry, there needs to be accounting. And so I have hairstylists that are my clients, barbers my clients. So people in different industries. I have somebody in construction that is my client. So I deal with a lot of different industries in itself, and that comes from my background of being an auditor. So I learned that don't limit yourself just because. So I do behavioral health. I'm in a lot of industries, but don't limit yourself and expand your knowledge and grow in different areas. And that's what I did. So when someone sees me in fashion, it's like, how'd you get into that? Well, they need an accountant. How'd you get in construction? They need an accountant. So I branched off into different industries and able to grow in those industries. So yeah.
Oh, I love that. And one thing I can appreciate about you, you are all about once you're working with somebody, you're all about education as well. And I guess with that, I would say, is that kind of how you also got into the consulting side with businesses, going beyond accounting?
It's interesting you asked that question. Many times when we're in business, some people want to start a business. The question is, what is the problem in the earth that you're trying to bring solutions to? So, what is the problem? Because a business does very well if someone understands you're solving their problem. So for me, it was like, I wanted to make sure I position myself to solve the problem. And the problem is a lot of people don't, entrepreneurs that is, don't understand the significance of an accountant. Sometimes we like to think of an accountant like our favorite bag or our favorite car, our favorite whatever that, it's our badge of honor. I have an accountant, but really, do you understand that accountants have to follow the law? Do you understand that an accountant have a lot of pull, a lot of authority when it comes down to state agencies and federal agencies? And when I realized that a lot of people didn't know that, like we're the ones that can help you get approved for a loan. If people knew that, they would better appreciate their accountant. They wouldn't bounce around to different accountants, or they would choose the best accountant. Because when you have your own business, you basically hiring someone to do accounting. But how do you know how to hire someone? That's like hiring let's say a statistician, and you're not even a statistician. How do you know that they're good at being a statistician? You
Right.
don't know. So, for me, it was more like, let me educate my clients and those who are interested in understanding what this looks like. Like, I spent 6 hours, and I literally was thinking about this morning because I was wrapping up somebody's tax and I'm still not done. But it took like 6 hours to work on someone's taxes. Do you know how much money that is if I was working for a CPA firm that's charging at least I'm billable like $400 an hour? How much I just made in 6 hours? So you translate that to the everyday entrepreneur, or the person need their taxes done, and it's like, I just spent 6 hours, but then I'm getting a fraction, not even the full amount of what I'm billable at. And somebody can say, why does it take so long? Because in this instance, they have triggered investment decisions, taking money from their investments, and those transactions have to be recorded on your tax file. So when I see a long list of investments that you have triggered to pull that money out, that's like the tax person's nightmare. And we can summarize and all that stuff, but we have to make sure those numbers are calculated properly in your tax file. Then they have a business, then they have other things. So yeah, so people don't know the work that it takes, or they try to call us. I can't get my accountant, probably because we're sitting there trying to calculate numbers. We're in a meeting or something like that.
Right.
So it's a lot that goes into accounting, and that's why for me, teaching people, helping people understand it is so important.
It's so important, so necessary, so needed. And as I said in the intro, I want to say that again before we go to this next part. What's discussed on here regarding taxes and everything That's educational only. So he is not here providing you personal counseling or services. Okay? Okay. All hearts and minds are clear. Want to put that out there.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Before, and I say that because I want to go to this next part. So talking about, educating people. There's a lot of people online right now, a lot of influencers, and they're talking about how they're doing their businesses. A lot of people have become influencers in the business space, rather, educating other entrepreneurs, and I love it. But I've kind of seen this thing happen a lot. You have that one on TikTok or Instagram, and they'll do this really pretty reel or whatever of, their vacation, designer bags, cars, this, and then at the end, when some pretty fun will say, I wrote it off, and you can too, right? And then you, the average entrepreneur with your LLC, you go and you try to do that, and then at tax time, it's not quite working out for you like it did for the person in that video. Why is that? Like, what's the disconnect? I guess, like, what's the biggest myth out there with write-offs?
So the biggest myth is that you can write off everything. The IRS myth, or I should say the IRS terminology for writing off is it a qualified business expense? According to Section 162A, you can write off expenses related to your business that's ordinary and necessary for your business. So the question is the expense ordinary for your industry? Is it necessary for your industry? So if you're buying a Maybach, just using it as an example, and you're getting that for your business, the question is, how do you justify a Maybach as a write-off if you're just delivering orders? Now, if you are a real estate agent and maybe perhaps you're selling billion-dollar properties or multi-million dollar properties, that could be justifiable. But you have to understand what is ordinary and necessary, and you have to prove that to the IRS. So even though you can have a receipt, you can have your documentation. If it doesn't pass the test of ordinary and necessary, it's not a qualified business expense. So that's how we look at it.
Okay. So translation, maybe we should talk to you first before we go do that. That's what I'm getting from
There are rules around
that.
writing off expenses. There are rules like Section 160, 179A. I don't misquote me, but it's so many rules about it. And so the thing is, we want to make sure we are following the law when it comes down to writing off things. And the like you said, the myth is that I could just write it off just because I purchased it. That's not the truth. We have to make sure that it actually qualifies as a write off. And do you have to depreciate it, or can you write off 100%? So there, yeah. So it's Section 179 deduction expenses, and those allow business to immediately deduct the full purchase price of a qualifying equipment and software in the year it was purchased or placed in service. So there are the rules around it. So we can't just say just because you bought something you can write it off. That's not the truth. We have to do our due diligence to check to see if it actually is a full deduction or not. So yeah, that's a lot of times people say it and it sounds good, and we gravitate toward it because they're going to get views, they're going to get likes, they're selling something,
Right.
but they're not the tax expert. And that's what ask people: where did you get this from? Show me in black and white, wherever you got it from. Because again, that advice is just something that people want people to pay attention. How am I going to go viral unless I tell you you're missing out on your write-offs? Write this off and write that off, and then you come back to write it off, and then the IRS challenges you. Yeah, it's not. That's just clickbait.
Oh, there you have it. So make sure you talk to your friendly local Spider-Man accountant. Uh,
Spider-Man, yes.
yeah,
Superman, count whichever. Yes,
right. Talk to them first before you just go and book that trip to wherever and say, I'm writing it off. And I like that you said that too, because it may not be that that influencer is lying for their circumstances. Perhaps that did work, but your business is not their business. So
absolutely,
do what you
absolutely.
want. Do what you want with that. All right. Hey there, listen, if you've been listening to this and you realize that you need support with your brand or content, I want to invite you to work with me. As a creative consultant, I offer clarity sessions to help you get focused and move forward with confidence. You can schedule your session through the link in the show notes. All right, let's get back to the conversation.
So let me ask you another question now. So a lot of entrepreneurs, when they're starting, many people go into the route of forming their LLC when they start their business, and then there's a lot that's not always understood with the tax side of that. So I want to ask you now, like, what are some common mistakes that you see business owners make with their LLCs with taxes? You can just throw one or two things out there.
One, one, they don't think they have to file the annual report that costs in Maryland is $300 a year. So they forget about that. And if you don't have that in place, you're faced with having your personal assets exposed if there was ever a legal issue that came up. That's the whole purpose of an LLC. The other thing is, a lot of times people don't know that they have to file taxes. And they think, oh, I haven't done anything with my business. Well, first of all, why'd you start the LLC? The minute that you set up that LLC, that means that you're saying to the government, I'm doing business with you. But most people don't know the law when it comes down to businesses and maintaining the LLC. So you're getting into it. The mistake is you don't know about the law. Now you're being hit with penalties and fees because of it.
Gotcha. That's good information. And let me ask you one more thing, and then we'll kind of pivot to something else. So the last thing I would say, if there was one simple like tax habit that every entrepreneur should start early in their business, what would it be? Something to help you stay on top of things.
Set up QuickBooks or some kind of software to
Okay.
make your life easy. Set up a separate bank account. I don't care if it's a business account, personal separate account. Separate your business expenses from your personal because that is necessary. Like I'm dealing with somebody right now and working with him. He's an awesome entrepreneur, been in business for quite some time. But I said, hand me your expenses. How do I do that? Where's your account? Everything's in his personal account. Okay, give me your bank statements because it sounds like I have to do this for you because you're not doing it. Give it to me. So I had to take all of his statements for a couple of years to see what would be classified as an expense for his business. So here we are. And my recommendation is start right the first time. Like separate everything and put it in one account that's designated for business to make things easy.
I like that. Well, thank you so much for that. So now let's go back just a little bit. You mentioned being working in the fashion industry before, having clients there, but you also have a magazine too. Am I right? Online magazine.
Absolutely.
Make
Yeah.
sure I get
Yeah.
it right. So
Yeah.
when and how did that happen? Because that's a completely different direction. So let's talk about that for a little bit now.
Absolutely. So that happened again as part of being in fashion and collecting so much I would say footage of, the styles, the fashion, all that stuff. Basically what happens is for me, I look at it as a tax write-off. So I get to enjoy my work, my journey as an accountant in ways that are, that I can say I have a purpose for being here at this event, at this gala, and whatever, fashion show it is, because I am this person's accountant. I'm doing business in this industry. So it makes it a need. So it's not that I'm just showing up at an event without it being a need. It also affords me to travel. So I get a chance to travel to different fashion weeks. So New York Fashion Week, I've been there. DC Fashion Week, Philly Fashion Week. So I've been to fashion weeks, and it's mainly because I stepped into this industry as an accountant, but also having my magazine gives me even more purpose of why I'm there. So that's what triggered me to do that. And actually, I'm working on. So basically, right now, it's a website, but I'm rebranding it where I'm actually getting it to be placed as an app. So I have um, developed new skills over the last couple of months and figured out how to publish an app on Apple Store as well as Google Play. So that's something I have the skill set to do, and I want to take my magazine and put it on an app so people can have it right there in their phones.
I love that. And I want to make sure I got the name right too. Is that B Square Collective?
It is B
Okay.
Square Collective, and that's on Instagram and Facebook.
All right. So make sure you follow that because I love the images. I love the content. Is yeah, you can
Oh,
tell.
thank you, thank you.
You can
Thank
tell the
you.
passion is there. You have a good eye for these things. So I'm
Yes, thank
excited.
you so much.
Of course. Now you already, once again, we're just on it. We're in this groove right now. So you already talked about that app. I want to hear you talk some more about, because you branched into the digital marketing space as well. You've branched into a lot more with AI. You have a group, an AI community you started for those who are learning. So how do we get into that field as well, of you wanting to do more with digital products and AI?
Yeah, because AI became, I mean, that's like the dominant, you can't go online without having some interaction with AI, whether you're on a Word document or you're on, social media. There's AI that is all around us. And I didn't want to be left behind. That's the one thing. I didn't want to be left behind. I was trying to understand how to use it, how to create prompts, what would make, how do you make sure that the outcome of your prompt turned into something that you wanted, and playing around with it. Actually took my social media page, my Facebook specifically, to over now 105,000 followers. 105,000 followers, like just because I, was posting baby videos, and that was to me like more like me getting to know how to write a prompt. And growing that much now gives me exposure. So basically, social media is a business. Social media, and people don't think social media is a business. Basically, if you draw people to your page, that means that people stay longer on social media, on that platform longer, and the platform awards you, they pay you for those followers. So when you growing your followers, it's not so much that you're just growing the followers, but you're building a community on social media that they actually, mean the social media platform, wants you to do, and they're going to pay you for it. So for me, it was more like jumping into that, but I was also trying to figure out how to market my business leveraging AI, because AI does so much, like marketing, development. You have uh, AI can do a lot. You can't even limit what it does. It can create things, and so for me, I wanted to make sure that I could stay relevant in this industry and even teach other people how to do it. And so that's where I get that from, and that's why I jumped into AI. It's just really leveraging that, because I think even taxes in the future, not our generation of people, but the babies growing up, they're more than likely going to use AI to do their taxes.
Wow. Yeah.
Facts, right? So why would I want to leave, stay stuck in, in my mindset and saying, I'm just going to keep doing taxes, da 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 da. No, I got to prepare for what's coming, because even the tax industry, the accounting industry is changing and implementing AI.
That's so true. And with it, you said a mouthful. With that, you just made me think of something else. So if someone right now was like, you know what, I'm not gonna download this tax software. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna. It's just gonna be me and ChatGPT. ChatGPT is gonna be my accountant right now. Are there some things they should be cautious about with trying to do that?
Yeah, uh, AI is like GPS. What happens when you drive your car? Do you just totally rely on your GPS to tell you where to go? I did that a couple of times, and I normally don't do that. But
Mm.
being a busy entrepreneur, I end up doing it, and I end up in a place where I was not supposed to be.
Oh no.
I'm on Southwest DC, and I'm supposed to be on Northwest. Why I'm in Southwest? I was leaning on GPS to tell me where to go, and I'm in somebody's school. I'm like, this is not the place. Is this the place? Maybe even later than what I was supposed to be. So, so yeah, so I is so AI Chat GPT is pulling resources. AI pulls from different resources, and I don't think people know that that's what it does. It's not smart in itself. AI is just a faster way of Googling something. It's a faster way of scouring through the internet to look at Reddit, to look at web pages, to look at certain sites, and it's pulling this information, then it's delivering it to you faster. So it's almost as if AI is like that pizza delivery driver. Instead of you having to go get the pizza, you ordering the pizza and it's bringing it to you. than you having to leave your house. You can just sit in your house and let it do it for you. That's one of the best ways I could describe AI. But it does some other creative things where, if you program it right, if you give it the right prompt, it can create great images, videos, blah, blah, so, but informational, very powerful, but it's not powerful in itself. It has to pull data from somewhere else.
There you go. So thank you for that warning, breaking it down a little bit more. I love that. So I want to go back to, you mentioned you were working on an app right now for the magazine eventually be over there, but you're working on some other apps too, right? Or already have another one out, right?
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
have two apps. One is published already on Apple. The other one is coming up on Google Play, so it's going to be there rather soon. I needed 12 testers before I can make it live on Google Play. Apple has its own restrictions, and they do their own internal testing that I had to pass. So the fact that I got past Apple's testing, I can definitely fly through Google's platform. So that's what I'm working on. Hopefully, it'll be available on Google within the next, maybe within a week or two. So it just depends on their approval process. But yes, and then I have another one, a second one that's going to be coming out. So the first one that's on it now is for entrepreneurs to keep you on track, to help you to stay on top of these deadlines that come up, sales tax, income tax, helping you to know what needs to be done for your business. It's tracking income, tracking expenses, all the things that you did not know that you need to do for your business. This gives you a checklist. Also, there's an AI component within my app where you can ask questions. So you can ask it, how do you do a cash flow statement? What does that mean? Why is this important? When does it due? It will give you responses. So I just did that. I'm getting ready to release that new update within the next week. So I'm working on it right now. My second app that I'm working on is specifically for my clients. Specifically for my clients. So if you have a request, Victoria, you can actually go into the app and submit your request. We can follow that request from when it's received to that it's in process, and that now we can chat back and forth. You can ask questions. We can ask you questions, and then until it get closed out. We can also initiate a request to you. So if we need something from you, we can do that. And so it's a really great way for us to connect with our clients. But this isn't just for our clients because Apple rules are very strict. So we had to open this up like it's an office building, like it has many suites. So when you go into the app, you have to enter the firm code to access the app. So basically, this is a way for business to do business with me, other tax professionals, other accountants. They can use my app to invite their clients, and you're putting in the code to that particular accounting firm or that particular tax professional, and you're getting access to their platform and be able to communicate with them. So this is a very powerful app that I'm creating, and it's almost done, but I'll be sending out updates about it's now finished. Let's go. Let's rock and roll with it. And then I just landed my first contract for a client that we're doing a mobile app for them as well. And it's for behavioral health. They're going to stand out in this industry as it is a very competitive industry. It's very saturated with a lot of behavioral health professionals, counselors, and stuff. But this will really put them on the map that when they see people, they can say, hey, download my app, download our app. And anytime there's anything that could trigger emotions, like let's say the war, this could trigger emotions. They could send out a notification. Hey, is it time for you to check in? To your counselor, would you like to set up a meeting? Blah, blah, blah. Here are reasons why you should talk to a counselor. That way people can have more of a go-to app if they want to ask questions and also engage in this to help increase their sales. So we just landed that contract about 2 weeks ago, and we're already in process of getting this done.
That is awesome. So just hearing you talk about the different apps and things too, I'm like, so wait a minute. So at what point did we say we want to work with apps? Because I know we were playing, with AI, and I've seen the baby videos on Facebook. So we started monetizing social media, and then when did app creation and app development come in there? When did you?
So I literally was inspired by a person on YouTube, and they were like, and it kept coming up. It comes up now, and they're like, you can create an app within minutes. And I thought, well, how can I create an app within minutes? I want to know. And man, that was a whole discovery because I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And this is back in January. So this is not years ago. This is literally in January. And when I started on this journey, I did not know. Again, is it? I have locks, so any locticians or people that's in that have locks will understand what I mean by this, or anything really. When I started my locks, I was not educated. I did not know that there were different kind of parts for locks. So I was like, well, why didn't somebody tell me about the rectangular versus the diamond? I didn't know. That's how I entered into the world of this app development. And you hear no coding involved. So I'm thinking, oh, I don't have to worry about coding, so it must be easy. Let me just go ahead and do it and try and see what happens. Well, AI does create the app, but you have to understand process flows. Let's say, like, for example, you can't forget that somebody is going to want to, let's say, change their password. Do we have a change of password feature? Do we have, a register as a new user feature? Do we have so just because AI can create it does not mean that it's perfect. It can be perfect, but it takes you and AI working to get there. All right, that's one step. So we can do an app like that. Now we want to take this app and put it on Apple and Google Play. That's a whole different layer. They don't tell you about that part really when they talk about you create apps, because literally you create the app. Let's say you're using a software like Lovable. So Lovable AI. Lovable will create this app, but you have to literally migrate that app to be utilized on Apple and Google Play. It's not just a simple, let me create this app. It's now taking you time to look at a code. So me, people don't know this. I had some coding experience as a kid, so I have not tapped into that. But I'm super excited and thankful that AI is now here, that I can tap into something that I was doing when I was 9 years old. And that sort of triggered emotions because, as you know, as kids, there are certain things we had emotions about. And my grandmother bought me my first computer, and there was the whole DOS IBM type of thing. And I was typing in the command, creating games and stuff. That was then, and I have not touched it since then. And to do it now, I just want to tell my grandmother, Grandma, look what I did. I was able to go in there and actually do what I started back then.
Oh,
So I never wanted to do app development as a career because it's very, very, like, I will spend hours. Victoria, you know how people get, they people watch series like on Netflix and they're like binge watching.
yeah.
I'm a binge script writer on apps.
Wow. Oh, wow. Okay.
I literally can sit there and work 24 hours without sleep, without eating, working on the app. Because it's not so much it's not a boring session. It's a session that you're going back and forth, and it's something that's breaking, it's something that's not doing this, and then you're happy that this got done. You like, oh my god, that worked. Now you do something else, it triggers something else to break, and I'm sitting there fussing with AI. Why you messed up my app? And you think I'm dumb, and you think and I'm like, I need you to do this now in all caps, all caps. I need you to give me the full replacement. But I cannot rely, like, you literally have to know and then you can't rely on AI to know everything. So I had to tell AI, you're taking me down the wrong path. I'm not changing that. And it says, oh, I'm sorry. I should have known better.
Let me tell you the frustration. Okay, for those who like are using AI like that, y'all know what we're talking about. You have that argument with it. And first of all, you feel a little bit crazy, like, yo, I'm arguing with the machine, but whatever. You had that argument with it, and then when it comes back and it says, oh, I'm sorry, I should have. I'm like, that's why I'm using you in the first place.
Because I
Because you
hired you. I'm going to
yeah,
cancel my subscription and be like, why am I paying you $20 a month and you not?
hello.
It's like they're probably
We
like, you're
have
not
the
even paying that much. What are you talking about?
we have the pro plan, and you still telling me, oh, you know what, I should have known. Yes, you should have known.
You should have known. It's a
I'm
waste
glad
of
I'm not the
money.
only one who's had that conversation.
You know what's crazy, real quick? So I use one, Chat LLM, and then I use Perplexity. I use a number of them, so they're not the only ones I use, but just using that as an example. Perplexity got to be a male, unless we want to say alpha female. I don't know, whatever. People would get, hinged up with genders. But Perplexity is male. Chat LLM is a female. Perplexity doesn't care. I'm like, you need to be focused on this. And it's just literally don't care. Chat LLM, Let me know if this was really good. And by the way, share with me your other script, and I'll help to make sure I look at it. That is a female. I'm like, this got to be. I like working with you. Okay, this all
Oh
that.
man. Oh man. It's like
I
no.
think I think it has some kind of sensors in there to kind of like pick up what kind of person we are.
Listen, something, but yeah, like this is good. It's nice to talk to somebody else is like in it, and you these conversations, they're
Yes,
real. But we're doing, but you're
yes,
making things.
it's
We're
real.
building something. It sounds crazy, but empires are being built in the middle of these
Yes,
conversations. Okay.
absolutely, they are. They are. But no, literally, like honestly, and I mean, I'm saying this for sure. I know that being in app development is. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. It's very powerful. One, for anybody that says, I don't know, like, should I change careers? I wouldn't say just change careers, but enhance your career, enhance your knowledge. Two, I'm a black male app developer. That's rare here in the United States. Normally, we would go over to India to find somebody to create an app, but now I'm right here. Three, um, I would say the amount of money that you can make for app development, you can easily charge $10,000 easily. So I'm saying, how many people are going to be interested in creating apps? I'm telling you, Victoria, not a lot of people. It takes time and it takes strategic. It's like you really have to be down to the detail. Like literally, is this bracket in the wrong? Because if a bracket is wrong,
Yeah.
if it's placed in the wrong place, this the production of this is going to turn off bad, and it's going to throw the whole app off. You're not going to have a signal. That's when you run into internal server issue, all that other stuff. But literally, I'm saying if anybody wanted to change their income, you can do that. And it's just all about getting out there, not being afraid, and saying, let me do this. But there are so many other digital products. So to your point about starting digital marketing, there's so many other digital products that people want. And if you know where to tap into, you can create a spreadsheet and sell it on Google in ads, and people will buy it. So there's a potential monetization that you can have on Facebook that you can sell a spreadsheet, and people still want spreadsheets.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so many opportunities out here.
I guess what would you say to someone right now? They're new to the AI space. They're even new to the concept of digital products. What would you advise they do? Just where would they start?
So I'm gonna repeat what Gary Vee says, and Gary Vee is big on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, like all over social media. Gary Vee says spend at least 30 minutes to an hour a day on AI. Literally, get to learn it. And I thought when he said that, and I heard him say that, I want to say back in December or January. Um, I thought, well, why would I do? What would I do with that? But I was like, Donald, you're gonna have to figure this out. And here I am. I'm spending hours a day using AI, talking to it. So I took that advice, and I would say that to anybody else: spend time with AI, learn it, develop some kind of skill set, join groups. Like I have a group on Facebook. Join my group, um, and learn about it because I'm going to be posting more about AI and helping people understand that you can leverage this to build streams of income. So for sure, that's what my recommendation would be.
Awesome. And I'll make sure that we share that with the people to your group because it's a good group to be in and you're an educator's educator. So yes, I'll definitely be
You
sure.
are amazing, Victoria. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too. This has been so good. I guess we'll wrap things up. I want to leave everyone with some inspiration. So whether it's a new entrepreneur or one that's been at it for a while and they feel stuck, just what some words of encouragement you would give to them.
Don't quit. Maybe change directions, but do not quit. And one reason why I would say that is because when I've spent time at a CPA firm and I was aspiring to be a partner, I asked the partners, how did you become a partner? What was the thing that you could tell me? And they said, do not quit. So it it doesn't matter. I quit the firm, but it's more so don't quit whatever you're working on. As an entrepreneur, it takes time. Maybe you need to sell a different product, but just keep going. Ben and Jerry's, when they started off, they weren't selling bagels. They were like, why are we not selling bagels? Then they looked around and and saw that they were at a milk farm. Let's sell ice cream, and look where they are today. Then every grocery store, Ben and Jerry's, household name. And so don't quit. Maybe change directions. Maybe build another skill set, but keep at it because eventually you're going to grow.
I love that. Thank you so much. That was a mouthful right there. Maybe you have to change directions, but don't quit.
Directions.
I love that. And you know what too? I'm gonna put you on the spot. I'm gonna put you on the spot. So I know you're a believer. You close us out with a little prayer, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. I
All
don't
right.
mind.
Thank you.
Lord, we thank you for this moment. Thank you for blessing us to spend time together with each other and sharing with your people. Father, we honor you. We are gracious that you are our Heavenly Father. We're gracious that you call us your children. We're gracious for the being a provider for us. Lord, let this podcast be a blessing to someone, inspire someone to want to do whatever they're called to do and to even start and to give them the encouragement that they need and put the right people around them to start, but also help them to recognize the people that's not there to help them get started or causing them to not grow. But Lord, help us to come together and support each other in love and as a community. And Lord, I thank you even for this Victoria, this podcast that she started, God, that you will bless it, that you will cause this podcast to reach the world, over 1 billion people. We call it forth. We thank you for the assignment that she's fulfilling, that you've given her to do. And God, we thank you, God, that she will not quit, that she will keep going, and that it will continue to flourish and bless someone else. And we thank you. And we ask all these blessings in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thanks again. Listen, follow him on all his socials. We're gonna have that in the show notes. Okay. If you got any other things you want to shout out before we go?
So I want to just say thank you so much. Follow me on social media. If you need somebody to help you to develop apps, I'm here. If you want to learn more about AI, I'm here. And so my information is you can reach me at donald.butler@butlersquared.com. And I'm super, available most often. If I'm busy, email or text message would definitely be helpful. But if you email me, I'll be able to get your email. My team will be able to help me to get back in touch with you. So I'm looking forward to us growing with you, but also look me up on social media, Donald L. Butler on Instagram as well as Facebook.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Now be sure to check the show notes for the link to Donald's Facebook group so you can stay connected and continue the conversation. And if you enjoyed this episode, I'd love to stay connected with you. Make sure you join my email list to get notified when new episodes drop. And I'll also send you a couple of AI prompts to help you get started with AI in your marketing and content creation. And speaking of content creation, do you need help or are you feeling confused about your content? If that's you, we need to talk. We need to talk like now. As a creative consultant, I offer clarity sessions. You can schedule your session today through the link in the show notes. That's all for now. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.